Lights, camera, action. Grab some popcorn and a snack, and then let's talk about some movies, TV, comics that we choose, and then I'll give you some reviews with the latest movie news. It doesn't get much iller. All killer, no filler. What? All killer, no filler. It doesn't get much iller. All killer, no filler.
Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of All Killer No Filler, the movie and pop culture podcast without all the fluff. I'm your host, Teo the Terminurtle, and let's just jump right into it. We've got a packed day. I am excited, but first, I have to know, what did y'all think of our new theme song? And would you want a full 3-minute version? Please let me know in the comments or hit me up on Instagram at Terminurtle, because if you guys want it, I think we have something in store for you guys that you're really gonna like. But all right, guys, jumping right back into the podcast, what are we talking about today? We're talking about more movies set in the Jurassic universe. We're talking about a King Kong TV show coming to Disney+. We are talking about Dead Island 2. I think it's about 10 years after the first trailer dropped. We'll finally have a release date. And we're talking about DC movies being delayed. And we're talking about Shia LaBeouf's new upcoming movie that he says is the most important role he's ever taken in his life. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. So Bryce Dallas Howard, which, first of all, let's just say Bryce Dallas Howard, you know. Bryce Dallas Howard was being interviewed recently, and she talked about the future of the Jurassic World franchise. Now, if you know anything about me, I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. For my honeymoon, my wife and I actually took a trip to Hawaii and toured a few of the filming locations of the original Jurassic Park, as well as the first 2 Jurassic World movies, and it was awesome. There's an incredible picture I have out there on my Instagram of us at the site of the log. But I will say, for as big of a Jurassic fan as I am, I wasn't particularly happy with this most recent trilogy of films, with the Jurassic World films. I didn't strongly dislike any of them, but after walking out of every one of them, I thought that could have been better. I think that Colin Trevorrow is an excellent director, but I don't know that he was the best fit for this franchise. But anyway, what did Bryce Dallas Howard say? Bryce Dallas Howard said in a recent interview, "It's very sad to say goodbye to something so wonderful, but also I'm very excited for the folks who will carry the Jurassic franchise forward, you know? It will be with a largely different cast and all of that, and that's something that is to be celebrated. I know as a fan what I want to see moving forward, and I hope it comes to fruition. I really do." Those are the comments from Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, with the most recent release of Jurassic World Dominion, a large part of that film's advertising was the conclusion of the franchise, So you may be asking yourself, if that's the conclusion of the franchise, why are they making more films? Because Jurassic World Dominion made near $1 billion at the box office. You do not make near $1 billion at the box office and then just walk away. Even if, from a story point of view, that would be the right thing to do, they're not in it for the story, guys, unfortunately. Now, I was not the biggest fan of Jurassic World Dominion. I thought the whole thing with the bugs was weird, but there's also a million people that have just ripped that movie to shreds online, and I didn't hate it entirely. Now, one thing I did love about that film was how they treated the legacy characters. I love that we're in this age right now of film where we're getting all of these legacy character films, right? Star Wars, Spider-Man, those types of films, I love that immensely. And I think that Jurassic World Dominion actually did the best job of bringing in those legacy characters and making them feel like a genuine part of the story and making them feel not just like a cheap cameo. I would say that there is an argument that Spider-Man No Way Home may have done it slightly better. I give Jurassic World Dominion the edge purely because of the amount of screen time that the original trio had. I loved every minute that the original cast was on screen. I just wish they were in a better movie. That being said, I am very excited to see what the Jurassic franchise would look like in the hands of a better fit of a director. And right now, I'm going to pitch 2 Jurassic franchise films, and you guys let me know what you think. Because I think that they were really on to something in the first Jurassic World when they talked about bringing dinosaurs into the military. Now, I don't think you could do this film justice and not make it rated R. So there may be a little conflict of interest in that regard because all of the Jurassic films have been PG-13. But can you imagine Jurassic War, a rated R Saving Private Ryan with dinosaurs? Are you kidding me? Take my money, take my house down payment, take my mortgage, take everything. I would be there day one and would watch that film every day that it was in theaters. Okay, so that's my pitch one. Pitch two. Get this. What if we do E.T. with a dinosaur? I'm just saying, putting it out there. I think that there is a very low level of diversity in dinosaur films. I feel like every human dinosaur film that comes out is either a ripoff of Jurassic Park or is a ripoff of The Good Dinosaur, which essentially is a ripoff of Ice Age. So I think we need a boy and his dog type of film with dinosaurs. That's all I'm going to say. That's my pitch. But yeah, no, of course they're going to do more Jurassic films. Look how much cash it made. And that's with all the mixed reviews. That's with, people kind of being let down and disappointed. But I do not think that this franchise is dead. Nowhere near. I think they just need to mix it up, right? They've essentially done 6 films that are basically the exact same thing. And that is not the only thing that you can do with dinosaurs. So, Universal, if you're listening, Jurassic War, perfect title, by the way. And E.T. with a dinosaur. Again, perfect title. Do not change a single thing. I'm so dumb. All right, guys, let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kong, the 8th wonder of the world, now streaming on Disney+. Can you believe it? So I know the first question a lot of you guys will be asking is this Kong TV show tied in any way to the Godzilla vs. Kong monsterverse? No. It's not. King Kong is a character that is in the public domain, just like, Frankenstein or Sherlock Holmes. So, although the MonsterVerse is owned by Universal, pretty much any major studio, or really anybody in general, can make a King Kong film on their own as long as it's not, tied to those films, right? As long as, you couldn't bring back Jack Black's character from Peter Jackson's King Kong, right? It's a completely separate thing. But we got a report from Deadline that reads as follows. King Kong is a serialized action-adventure drama that brings the classic monster story into the modern age, with a return to Skull Island and the dawn of a new Kong. This series will explore the mythology of King Kong's origin story and the supernatural mysteries of his home, based on the IP from Marion C. Cooper's original books and the new King Kong novelizations by Joe DeVito. And if that has not hooked you, this TV show will be produced by James Wan's production studio. This will be a live-action TV series, which I'm so glad. I wouldn't want this to be animated at all. It seems like we're going to talk about King Kong every episode of this podcast, which is fine with me. I mentioned in the last podcast how huge of a King Kong fan I am. In particular, Peter Jackson's 2005 King Kong. That's the film that made me want to go into a filmmaking. I think it's pretty universal, no pun intended, that the best part of the Kong story is on Skull Island, right? Whether he's fighting T-Rexes, whether he's fighting squid monsters, whatever else they do in the films, that is the most unique and creative and visually stunning part of the King Kong story. That and the fight at the top of the Empire State Building. But with an entire TV show taking place on Skull Island, there's just so much you can do. And I was so pleased that when I saw this report, a lot of the comments were like, can we get a prequel to Peter Jackson's King Kong film that's just Kong on Skull Island, And I saw a pitch that blew me away where it said, can we get a prequel to Peter Jackson's King Kong where we find out who made the map that Carl eventually got? That would have been amazing. But make no mistake, I'm very pumped to see what this TV show could be. I think that our American culture has not used King Kong to his total extent, right? At least not in the way that, Japan has used the Godzilla character. I feel like King Kong should be a much bigger deal in pop culture than he is. So I am really glad that not only are we getting a Godzilla vs. Kong 2, but we are also getting a different King Kong story on Disney+, which they have a pretty good track record with their high-budget TV shows. So if this is anything like what they're doing for Star Wars or what they're doing for the MCU, sign me up. I do have a request. Get Jon Favreau involved. Whatever that guy touches turns to gold. He probably won't be involved, but if he was, that would be my dream come true. What do you guys think about a King Kong TV show unconnected to the MonsterVerse on Disney+? Again, guys, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on a podcast. Please hit me up on Instagram at Terminurtle. I would love to engage with you guys. I would love to read your comments on future episodes of the podcast, so please let me know. I want to take you guys back to the year 2014. Breaking Bad had just ended. Mad Men was on TV. Beyonce and Jay-Z, were they together at that point? I don't know. Kim Kardashian broke the internet. Do you guys remember that? Anyway, one other thing that happened in 2014 is they dropped the trailer to a sequel video game called Dead Island 2. And people were like, oh, is this game coming out 2014? 2015? Oh, okay, it's coming out in 2016. Now, we finally have a release date for this game. Dead Island 2 dropped a gameplay reveal trailer with a release date of February 3rd, 2023. Just a week before Hogwarts Legacy, which was recently postponed from Christmas this year to February 10th, 2023. I played Dead Island 1 very loosely. I actually bought it again recently, and I played it for like an hour, and I haven't really had time to go back through the gameplay. But I have very fond memories of it from my teenage years. I was not prepared to watch this trailer at 9 a.m. this morning. I forgot how gory and brutal this game is, and watching it in PS5 graphics was a lot to take in. I definitely didn't need any coffee this morning to wake me up. That's a joke, actually. I don't drink coffee. But I gotta say, this game looks incredible. It actually looks a surprising amount like GTA 5, which I guess makes sense because this game also takes place in either Los Angeles or a Los Angeles equivalent, right? Like you see the Santa Monica Pier and the beach and the strip and just kind of a few things like that. And it's been a long time since I've played like a really bloody video game. I think the most extent of my blood in recent memory is Mortal Kombat 11, which my wife actually surprisingly loves that game. So we play that a lot, just, when we want to stay in and have a nice, cozy couch date. Every once in a while, my wife will surprise me and say, do you want to play Mortal Kombat? And I remember why I married her. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, are you guys excited for Dead Island 2? Let me know. Speaking of taking a long time, Warner Brothers has delayed two of the biggest movies they were going to drop this year and pushed them to 2023. What are those films? Shazam 2 was pushed back to March 17th, 2023, while Aquaman 2 was pushed back to Christmas Day 2023, which I believe is an entire year from when it was originally supposed to be released. I believe that film was supposed to come out this December or November, but they pushed that back to Christmas of next year, which they're trying to put a positive spin on it because this December, a movie I'm very excited for, Avatar 2, comes out during the Christmas time, and it is reported that they have booked every IMAX screen. So I think they're kind of using that as the delay for Aquaman 2. It's still not reported if they're going to move the Flash release date at all, but I am curious if the whole Flash Ezra Miller situation has anything to do with these delays. It is unfortunate because these are two films that a lot of people, myself included, are very highly anticipating, and they just keep on getting pushed back more and more and more. If you don't know, Warner Brothers used to own DC. DC is now owned by Discovery, and there's a lot of mixing and matching and changing things and canceling projects and this and that kind of going on, which is typical, right, whenever a studio is bought by a different company. But with the DC films in particular, it seems like they're trying to do a lot of course correction. One thing that could also be the cause of Aquaman getting pushed back so far is this whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. Maybe they want to remove her character, maybe they want to recast. That would be interesting. I don't think I've seen a lot of people online bring that up, but I wouldn't be surprised if comes, spring or June 2023, we get an Aquaman trailer with a different casting of the Mira character, or just no presence of her at all in the film. I do want to advocate for a petition that I signed that would have the casting of Amber Heard be replaced by Bruce Campbell. I think he is perfect for the role, and I think it would be a seamless transition. Okay, guys, so there is a film that I want to shed a little bit of light on because I feel like not a lot of movie podcasts are going to talk about this film, and that's perfectly understandable. But I have a very, close personal connection to this, and part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast was to talk about things like this. So, if you don't know me on a personal level, I am Catholic. And I do wish that there were a lot better Christian movies. I think when people hear the term Christian movies, they think of stuff like God's Not Dead, which is kind of corny and cheesy. And, yeah, we have Passion of the Christ, but that's kind of seen as like the anomaly. But then that is such an extreme film portraying the Passion of the Christ. And you're basically watching a man be tortured for 2 hours. And I just feel like there's so much potential. There are so many stories. There are so many people's testimonies that could make amazing movies. And we are beginning to move in that direction. We got one this year with Mark Wahlberg's Father Stu. If you have not seen that film, it is the true story of a man who was a boxer and a drunk and was just kind of going down a very rough path. And after a near-death experience, decided not only to convert to Catholicism, but he joined the priesthood as well. And he inspired many people who lived a rough life to bring themselves to God. It's a very beautiful story, and I love the way that Mark Wahlberg portrayed that story. It is a rated R film. There's so much cussing in that film, but that's how he truly talks, and that's how people talk. Well, it seems like we have another Father Stu type film coming up, but this one stars superstar cannibal Shia LaBeouf, who I might even argue is a better actor, but that is neither here nor there. But Shia LaBeouf has an upcoming film coming out called Padre Pio. Now, if you don't know who Padre Pio is, he was an Italian saint. He was a priest. He lived during World War I. There is an account of him getting in a physical fight with the devil, and the devil told him, if there were 3 people like you on earth, the entire earth would be devoted to Christ. If there were 3 people like you. So that is the man whose life Shia LaBeouf is portraying in his upcoming film called Padre Pio. Shia LaBeouf recently did an interview with Bishop Barron, who is a very popular Catholic priest that has a very strong online presence. He does a lot of conferences. He does a lot of debates with people. He's a really chill guy, though. Like, he's not a person that wants to pick a fight. He's a person that wants to have a conversation. And I love his content. I love his stuff. Bishop Barron and Shia LaBeouf have a 90-minute conversation with each other about the production of Padre Pio and Shia LaBeouf converting to Catholicism during the production of that film. I actually, at the time of recording this, I have not gotten a chance to listen to it myself, but I will tonight. I'm very excited to hear what Shia LaBeouf has to say. And if you guys are Catholic, or if you guys are just interested, I would strongly recommend checking this out. Bishop Barron is a very well-spoken person, and he's the kind of person where you can just, put on his podcast or put on one of his YouTube videos and his voice. It's just very easy to become comfortable just kind of like listening. Plus, I absolutely love watching 1-hour-long interviews. So, Shia LaBeouf, Padre Pio, be on the lookout, because just like with Father Stu, I don't believe that this movie will get a lot of publicity. And that is all of the news this week, guys. Congratulations, we've made it to the end of another episode. But before I let you go, I have 2 movie recommendations for you. They are both romantic comedies, just because, who doesn't love a good rom-com? If you're dating, if you're married, if you're single, everyone needs a rom-com every once in a while. Up first, The Big Sick, starring Kamal Nanjiani. This film is a true story of how he and his wife fell in love. His parents wanted him to marry a Pakistani woman. He met a white girl that was named Emily, and then she goes into a medically induced coma, and Kamal is there for her. He's there for her parents. He's there with her parents, and this movie is just hilarious. It is a feel-good movie, and I don't want to give away too much, but if you know Kamal Nanjiani, he's a stand-up comedian, and if you like his brand of comedy, then you will absolutely love this film if you have not watched it already. The next rom-com is another Daniel Radcliffe film. Yeah, so me and my wife watched Imperium last week, and she actually had a great time with it, which I'm super pumped because my wife is very hit or miss when it comes to dramas, and that one is a lot of heavy subject material, but she actually liked it. But because of that, to kind of counteract watching a drama, we watched a rom-com that we both really like. This actually may be my favorite rom-com. It does star Daniel Radcliffe, and it is called What If? And the plot of this movie is Daniel Radcliffe is single, and he meets a girl at a party, and they hit it off very quickly, instant connection. And he walks her home at the end of the night, and that's where he finds out that she has a boyfriend, and not just a casual boyfriend, a serious boyfriend of 5 years. And the main question of the film is, when you like a person, can you be just their friend? It sounds a little bit dated today, but this movie is hilarious, and to me it hits being in love and relationships and how complicated and messy they can be right on the head. I love this movie. I used to watch this film in college every time I was having a bad day after a test I knew I did terrible on, when it was raining, or when I was just in a crummy mood. I love this movie. So the 2 films, guys, are Big Sick and What If. They are both on Amazon Prime. And if you do watch them, or if you have watched them and you go back and watch them again, guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments or on Instagram at Terminurtle. But yeah, those are my 2 movie recommendations this week. I promise next week there will be no Daniel Radcliffe. I apologize if you just hate Daniel Radcliffe. You just think that's some mug Harry Potter looking mother. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Well, this was great. I had a good time. I hope you guys had a good time listening to this. And until next time, hasta la vista.
Lights, camera, action, grab some popcorn and a snack, and then let's talk about some movies, TV, comics that we choose, and then I'll give you some reviews with the latest movie news. It doesn't get much iller, all killer, no filler. What? All killer, no filler. It doesn't get much iller, all killer, no filler.
Now you may be asking yourself, what is a Terminurtle? And to that I say, it's a Terminator turtle. Like, what else is it going to be? Terminurtle. I didn't think I had to spell that one out for you. Terminurtle. Thank you. Moving on.